There's nothing wrong with a dirty house. I say this because I've been pondering some things I've heard my whole life. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And if you can't keep a clean house, there's something wrong with you. And I've met so many people who can't keep a clean house. And I am an anally clean person. So of course that cleanliness is next to godliness thing always stuck with me because I loved the order of my house. I loved that I can find peace in my clean house. And I had a group of people over at my house last week, and we were talking about, I can't even begin to focus until my house is clean. And one of the ladies there said, I love a clean house, but I don't need it. So it made me think about it. Yeah, I need it. So we're all different. But then I think about some people in my life, and many are coming to mind, and they say, I'd love to have a clean house. I just can't. I'm messy. I'm a pack rat. I'm a slob. I'm a hoarder. And I don't always find that to be true with most of the people. And what I have found is the people with the messy houses really feel bad about themselves. And I apologize if I've done anything to contribute to them / you feeling bad if your house isn't neat and clean. Now, all this to say, I'm not going to mess my house up in order to prove it. I'm not going to change how I find peace in my house. But I really wanted to put this conversation in perspective. Because ultimately, one of the things that I have for many decades now realized is that all that matters is heaven and hell. That's it. If a decision brings me closer to heaven or closer to hell, then I darned well better make the right decision. So in high school, I remember judging people because they looked different. Maybe you judge people because they're pierced or they're tattooed or they choose really unorthodox ways of dressing. Now, there's a difference between modesty and wearing things that are like satanic or whatever, but I'm just saying people that dress differently. Think of people who dress like goths, for instance. Now, there are associations with the way we dress and what we're thinking, but ultimately, does wearing all black clothing bring you closer to God or closer to hell? It does not. Does my clean house get me any closer to heaven? Or is it going to be something that makes me go to hell? Of course not. In these decisions, there are other micro decisions. Like, what are the reasons my house is clean? I could go to hell for being arrogant about my clean house, just as someone can go to hell for being sloth about their messy house. So the core reasons why we do what we do, why we dress the way we dress, that's what we should be looking at. But most of us judge by outer appearances, and a clean or a dirty house doesn't tell you much about my soul. Might tell you a little bit about my personality, might tell you if I'm scatterbrained or OCD. But it doesn't, in the scheme of life, matter. I think of several couples I work with where one spouse is neat and the other spouse is messy, and that's a contentious issue between them. But neither one of them is per se right, and neither one of them is wrong. The conversation is, how do you love your spouse? How do you selflessly give to your spouse? So if I know my spouse likes a clean house and I'm kind of messy, am I going to try harder to clean the house, or at least clean places, or give him or her their space? Or if I realize I'm the neat freak, and for many of us it is neat freak, right? I used to be under that. Could I lay off my spouse a little bit in his or her messy areas. I always joke with my husband that he's got to have a pile someplace. And because he's married to me, I'm always picking up the piles, and he's always like, "Where'd you put my pile of stuff?" So I realized too that I could selfishly just keep cleaning, because if I were arrogant, I would think, see, I'm the clean one, I'm right, you're wrong. But then when I realized if his brain operates differently than mine, and when I neatly stack things back up, his brain is a little disorganized, trying to put things back. And where did I leave this? Where did I leave that? I will argue when he says, I know where all my stuff is. No, you really don't. You just know which piles to fish through. But I want this to be, perhaps this video is more for people like me, maybe, to not judge your family members that just don't have the ability to keep as clean a house as you do. They may be the holiest people you know. But then I also want it to be, for those of you who do keep a messy house, to say, not to judge yourself so harshly. It doesn't make you any worse of a person for not being able to, or just not having that skill set. I will never, ever in a bazillion years, well, maybe when I die and go to heaven, have a sense of direction, but in heaven, I won't need it. And my husband would shake his head constantly, but how do you not remember where we, oh no, I don't know how to get there. But that's how it is for many people who have messy houses. They don't know why they pick something up in one room and put it in another. So at the core of this video, I want it to be about less judgment of the other, more understanding, and really a focus on what is most important. Everyone watching this video has a skill set, and everyone watching this video has a flaw. Focus on your strengths. If there's something that really is detrimental, if your messiness is really, really putting a wedge in your marriage or in your home with your family, you can always amend things or compensate for them with selflessness. What can I do to make the other happy? And that takes time, and that takes effort, and that takes coming out of our comfort zones. And so for some of us, it's picking up the piles, even though we don't want to, or it's making time to clean up our yard after we've done yard work instead of leaving the stuff out on the yard. And for some of us, it's letting the garage stay messy. If that's one less fight and gives your spouse a little bit of satisfaction. Don't judge. Cleanliness is not next to godliness. We need to be holy. And to be holy simply means to be set apart. So start setting yourself apart from others, not judging your neighbors, helping them where they need help, and realizing we are just all sinners seeking the face of God. Hopefully one day we'll all get there. None of our flaws will matter at that point, because we will be perfected. Thank God. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching this informational bacon bit, and I want you to continue to live your life sunny side up.